So on today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to get the maximum video quality that I can onto my computer by using this along with this. And I'm going to do all of this for about $25, which is what I spent on this on Amazon. So let's go ahead and check this out. Welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. On this channel, you'll learn how to be creative, and I'll teach you the tools you need to create. So be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to help the channel create more content like this. Okay, and so the first thing I'm going to do is open up the package. This is going to be pretty simple. It came in this sealed bag. So we'll go ahead and open this up and see what we have. Here is the manual. And here's our device, which is an HDMI to USB video capture card. And this is something that I've been wanting to get for a while, but I did not want to spend a lot of money because, you know, the more popular brands, it could be over $100. But this one I got at Amazon. I got it for about $25. And what it has here is pretty simple. There is an HDMI input, and right here is the USB. You could actually stick to your computer, and all the components are on the inside. So it actually does all the processing for you so that you don't have to have like latency and so forth. Because if you plug this directly into your computer, say like you had an HDMI input, your computer is going to have to process that. Whereas these video capture cards, the whole idea is they already have chips and stuff to actually process all of that before going into your computer. And in terms of quality, as far as I recall, this one can take up to 4K input, but the output is at 1080p at 30 frames per second. So that's really the only main limit that I see with this capture card, that you're not going to get like the highest resolution and highest frame rates possible. But at this price, I think that's going to be a great deal for a lot of people who just want to get better quality. And in terms of like overall heft and feel, this is actually a little bit heavier than I thought, which tells me, okay, there's some components in there, so at least it's not empty. So that's the HDMI capture card. But I'm going to show you some other things that we're going to be using, because I am going to be taking the output from my camera over to this video capture card. So now let's take a look at the other things you need, starting with this very important mini and micro HDMI to HDMI adapter. Now my camera does not have a full-size HDMI output, so because of that I have to use an adapter because it uses a micro HDMI output, and some devices will be using a mini HDMI, so I got this because it has both. And then at the bottom is an HDMI output, and that output's going to go in here into the input section of the HDMI video capture card, and then the output goes into the USB, which you stick into your computer. And of course you finally need an HDMI cable, but that's all you really need. You need an adapter if your camera doesn't have a full-size HDMI output, and of course you're going to need a cable. But other than that, it's really simple to use. So we're going to go ahead and plug this into the computer. Okay, so here's my camera. So right here is my micro HDMI output. So I'm going to use the micro HDMI portion, and then I'm going to stick this to the HDMI cable and then to the video capture card, which would then go into the USB port on my computer. Okay, so here's the connection. There's the adapter, HDMI cable to the video capture card. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and stick this into my USB port. So everything is now connected, and then the cable goes down to the capture card right there into my USB port. So let's go ahead and see how this looks like. Okay, so this is my first time testing this out, and I'm going to show you the settings I have in OBS. But as you could probably see, the video is being captured, and right now it is recording the audio portion as well. There's like left and right. So I might need to change that on my camera to make sure that the left and right audio doesn't display. So I'm going to go ahead and try that now and then try the recording again. But as you can see, it is now capturing this from my camera, going straight to my computer, and so far things look great. There really isn't any lag as far as I could see, but there was lag at the beginning whenever I tried this out, and I'm going to show you in OBS how I managed to fix that. It has something to do with the way it captures it. Okay, so another thing that I noticed is, I didn't notice this at the beginning, but all the settings that I have on my camera, it's showing up here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to adjust this again. I'm gonna play around with my camera more, because earlier you probably saw like lines on my screen. Those are like zebra settings that I have on my camera. So I'm gonna see how I can remove all of that so it's just the video itself. So at least on my camera, there is an option called TV connection, HDMI info display, record, and I had to turn that off so then all that information doesn't show up whenever I'm recording the video. And so your camera might be different, but it's very important you do that. Otherwise, whenever you're recording, it's going to have all the technical info on your video as well. Okay, so after I turn that option off on my camera, you don't see any of that information on the display on the camera over to my video recording, which is awesome. I was afraid that there's no way I'm going to be able to record it without that, but there is a way. It's in your camera settings. But other than that, this is now working from the camera to my computer. So I'm going to show you the settings that I have in OBS. Then I'm going to do a quick comparison with how this looks like versus my webcam. As you could probably already tell, it's going to look a lot better. And it's also going to give me some more flexibility. So let's go ahead and get into the computer and look at my OBS settings. Okay, so now we're on my computer. As you can see here, I have OBS up. And if I go over here, there is my camera. And let me show you how I set this up. So if you're not familiar with how to use OBS at all, I do have an entire OBS playlist. I'll leave that in the description area below if you're interested. But all I would do here is go to scenes right here. And I would add, which is what I did. And there's my camera. And then here on my sources, I added a source and I chose video capture device. And then I named it whatever. So I've already named it here. So it's called the G85 camera. So once you do that, it's going to show up in sources. And then you're going to go ahead and choose this source. You could go to properties right here or right click on your mouse and go to properties. So this is what's really important. So whenever I started this at the beginning, the default video format was YUVV422. So if I choose that and say OK, you might notice this, but there's lag on the capture. So if I'm moving around, you could see it. Even if I'm not moving around, I'm just looking at the camera, you could see some lag there. And so what happened was if I changed it to any of these other video formats, I chose BGR R3 and I said OK. And then as you can see, there's no more lag. And so I'm not sure why that happens, but just in case you get lag on yours, just go ahead and change this setting right here under video format. Change it from the default YUYB422 to BGR3 or any of these other ones. So if I try this one, YU12B, it seems to work fine. And then if I try the other one, YUV12 emulated, that seems to work fine as well. So I guess it really depends on your computer maybe, I'm not sure, but at least for me, I just leave it as BGR3. I'm not even sure what that means. And at the same time, you can also change settings here. If you go down here to the camera controls, you could adjust these settings as well: brightness, contrast, saturation, and hue. And there's many other things you could do within OBS, but the main thing I wanted to show you here is how to get your camera working with the video capture card. And as you could probably tell, things work. And so that's very important that you get the settings right, create the scenes. And as I stated a little bit earlier, if you need any more information on OBS, check out my OBS tutorials. And so that's how you would set that up on your computer. For serious YouTubers, check out TubeBuddy, the premier tool news at geekoutdoors.com. Get more done today by checking out the affiliate link in the description area below. All right, so now we're back on my desktop again, and my apologies for the sound a little bit earlier. I kept bumping into it with my chair. I didn't realize that. And at the same time, you probably noticed some lag on that previous clip because I was using another recording program, Simple Screen Recorder, to actually show you the various settings in OBS. So whenever you're recording using OBS, you're not going to be able to see all the settings or adjust it while you are recording. So that's why you might have saw some lag on the actual video, but there really wasn't any lag whenever I was watching it. So once you have all that set up, you can do a number of things. Obviously, you can have your video showing on your desktop as well. So this one is my webcam. Now I have a green screen, so it doesn't look exactly right, but I'm going to show you some other things here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Now I'm going to add my new camera source. So right here, so I'm going a little bit fast here, but I'm just kind of showing you how things look like, and there I am. So there's gonna have to be some exposure changes right there. So there I am with my camera and overlaid above my desktop. Obviously, there's many other things that you could do here as well, but the great thing is, you know, it works. You know, so if you were doing some live streaming and you wanted to overlay your video over your screen, you can do that. And obviously, since I have it on this separate camera, I can move things around. You know, I have it on a tripod, so if I had it set up right here in front of my screen, I could do that as well. So right now I do have my webcam. So let me show you the difference between that and my webcam. So I'm going to turn this one off, and I'm going to go ahead and add my webcam. I have two different webcams, but my main one I'm using is my 1080p webcam. So you could probably see it right there. So it's switching back and forth between there. And at the same time, you know, I have a variety of other settings here. So if I just go here, here is my entire webcam without the desktop. And I really think this webcam is great. It's a Logitech 1080p. It definitely looks a lot better than my 720p. But obviously, if you do compare that to the camera itself, it's not going to look as good as the camera. So that's the whole reason why we're doing this. We want the maximum quality available. And that is it. That is how you use this video capture card, some of the settings, and my overall thoughts on it. I really think for $25, you can't go wrong. About the only limits here is that even though it can accept inputs up to 4K, the output is capped at 1080p, 30 frames per second. So if you need something more than that, you know, maybe you are a gamer who does a lot of live streams, you want the most frame rates as possible, then more than likely you're going to have to look at a more expensive solution for your video capture card. But other than that, this is a great value, and if it is something that you wanted to get and you wanted to support my channel, I will leave affiliate links to all the products that I'm using here below. And so that is it on this particular episode. If you actually had any thoughts on this or any other ways in which you do video capture on your machine, be sure to leave that in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my gear reviews, I do have an entire playlist as well. I'll leave that there at the bottom as well. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a creative geek like me, and you want to get exclusive access to more content that I don't put out here publicly on my YouTube channel, then join my Gold Content Creators group, where you're going to get content like this and more for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators group.